Hey, everybody. Sorry for the delay here, but yeah, all hands on deck, working on an issue that affected one of our databases. And so currently, still work being done to get us back online. I'll give you guys live updates as we're here every 5-10 minutes or so, 15 minutes or so. I will check in with the team. You'll see me kind of, I don't know, Biden out for a second. And I'll come back with an update. Anyway, this is an AMA. This is Ask Me Anything. My name is Kevin Murcko. I'm the CEO here at Coinmetro, as you can see by the t-shirt. So you ask me something and I'll answer it. There's already a ton of questions live in the chat. So I'm just going to go ahead and start answering. As I said, we're experiencing a bit of unscheduled downtime right now due to a database failure. So that is readily being worked on. I'm told we may be connecting back within the next 10 minutes or so. If not, it may take a bit more time and we may have to reconstruct a very small amount of our database. But anyway, I will keep you guys updated. Just trust it's being worked on in the background. So here we go. First question up. I was going to say, I don't know what someone wrote here. I'm good. Thanks, RK. I appreciate the heads up. By the way, gold medal for you. First question today on the AMA. I've got a difficult one. What is your favorite crypto exchange beside Coinmetro? Well, I don't know if I have a favorite, but I only have one other crypto exchange account, which I've used quite some time ago. But yeah, it's Kraken. So I guess I'd have to say Kraken. Are you still on that? Yes. As a fintech, we never really stop looking for funding. Just to throw that out there. And yeah, I am in a room, an empty room. I see the last. I'm just scrolling down. Give me a mic check, guys, because I've been talking now for about a few minutes. Yeah, just want to know. Make sure I'm not talking to myself, because I am by myself in the office. This isn't a green screen here, just to prove my point. Give me 1 second. And there you go. So yeah, not a green screen. Anyway, actually in the office. It's late here though. I know it's still light out, but it's whatever, 9 p.m. So Mike's good. Thanks, Bobby. Appreciate it. Hopefully there's not a lot of echo. If there is, somebody let me know and I'll do my best to fix it. How do you plan to entice high volume traders? So we've been having a lot of chats about this, Paul. And I know everybody seems to come up with this same conclusion that, why not just get 5 guys that trade a ton and then, your job's done. But that's not really the job I set out to do. The job I set out to do was to give everyone a fair chance, even if they trade low volumes, or all they want to do is hodl, or all they want to do is get access to yield, or all they want to do is get access to or potentially learn how to trade, or they just want to get the same opportunities that the guys with the bigger bank balance or the years of experience tacked on to their resume have. And that doesn't necessarily mean high volume traders. At the same time, a business like ours, and as we grow in the future, doesn't necessarily need volume specifically to make money. In fact, we can have an amazing business that is generally low volume in comparison to some of our competitors. And so I still believe that what Coinmetro really is, the sweet spot, the sweet spot for Coinmetro is, we may not be the first place you visit. You may end up at a Coinbase, you may end up at someplace, like that, who spends a lot of money on marketing, tries to get all the newbies in. And then once you've got a little taste of crypto and you understand what it is, you realize you may be paying high fees. You may realize that you have really bad customer service. You may not like the UI, UX. You may be looking to get in a gem that's only supported by, someone like Coinmetro. You may be looking for a better experience. And while you may not be a newbie, you're absolutely not a pro trader. And you might not be high volume. but you know enough now to kind of, you've broken in, and now you're going to start dealing with different products and different services. And you come to Coinmetro and you like the experience and you stay. And we retain you as a client for years and years and years. And you get to watch my bald self answer questions once a month and do some interviews. And I think that's the sweet spot for us. That is a growing market that's not going to stop growing. Because, you know, while the broader crypto market, the Bitcoin market is one thing, and the Bitcoin market has changed a lot in the last 1 or 2 years, especially in the last year, especially in the last 6 months, ETFs, et cetera. It's going to continue to change. And I made a prediction a long time ago that it was going to become more and more institutional, get less volatile, and thus retail money really wasn't going to go into Bitcoin, or at least to the lengths that it does now. The numbers will be bigger, but the percentage of retail investors in crypto going into Bitcoin will lessen. And so what does that mean? What does that mean? That means that altcoins and potential micro caps and small caps, et cetera, will explode. We've already seen them explode. There's more than 2 million tokens or something, new tokens over the last year between Ethereum and Solana. And while that's also going to change over time, et cetera, at the end of the day, there's always going to be a yearning from people that are transitioning from being extremely new to not so new. And that's going to continue to grow over time. And I think that's where we fit. Now, having said that, the way that we are going to make sure that the traders that are with us and the traders that do come with us, whether it's because we offer social trading and they want to be able to trade and bring their clients in their communities, or maybe it's just because they really like the interface, or maybe it's just because they like our transparency, or whatever it is, but they end up coming to us. Maybe we're not marketing to them specifically, but they come to us by word of mouth. And the way that we're going to make sure that we can retain those clients is working on our APIs, working on our throughput, being able to offer simply a better service than some of our competitors, liquidity, et cetera. And those things are ongoing now. Liquidity is a focal point right now. New matching engine, et cetera, also focal points, which is part of the tech debt removal that I've spoken of so much. Hope you're keeping well. Do you think that we're still on track for the 4-year cycle to play out with a peak sometime next year? I think we are, yeah. Nothing tells me we're not. The only thing that differs this cycle from the average cycle is that we've seen majority of the money go into Bitcoin at this point has been non-retail through ETFs, non-crypto retail through ETFs. And thus, when that money cycles out, as it may be doing now, as they take profit or loss or whatever, that cash isn't immediately going into a broader market, into alts. However, even if we look back at previous cycles, you don't necessarily see that happening in the summer anyway. There will always be thematic tokens that, you know, the newest guys on the block, AI, RWA, whatever, that will pop sooner than the rest of the pack. But we normally will see markets lull between after May, June, July, August. September, you see markets pick up. This is on institutional stocks, bonds, commodities, whatever as well. And so by all ticks, essentially, seeing either almost new highs, or in this case, new highs, having a cool off, a range, and then new highs again going into Q4. I think we seem to be on that track. Yes, though you probably, because of some contractual agreements, that may not be till the end of the year or early next year. But I do believe so, yes. Hey, Bob. A lot of questions from Bob today. Way to go, Bob. Working iOS. Well, I would say, well, right now it's, let me see, actually, it's a good time to check in with the team here. Let's see how we're doing. Give me a second. Let me sputter around here. So yeah, I was actually going to postpone the AMA. Somebody was telling me, so I have Camille tell me I should just go, but I decided just to push through. And this way I can help give you guys some updates before the end of the show, or again, in another 10 or 15 minutes, I will take a look. But right now we do have, a database issue that we're working on, which isn't just the iOS app. But if you're talking about kind of UI, UX, or maybe things you don't like about the app, there will be there's a lot of work going into right now to give you a whole new experience, both on Android and iOS, And the first taste of that you're going to get is in September. That doesn't mean it won't work up until September. So any thoughts on upcoming UK elections? Not so much. And I say that not because I'm kind of politically ignorant or something, but in reality, the elections that really drive fundamentals around the world for any market really are U.S. elections, not really any other country. Not that UK elections or the elections, let's say, even in larger economies like say Japan or in even broader kind of regional elections around different parts of the world can have an effect, but the U.S. election has a resounding effect. And so I think all eyes are really peeled there for November, to be honest, when it comes to the political spectrum and how it affects capital markets in general. I do the technical we have a delay. We should start in around 5 or 10 minutes. Oh, that's Camille, and I'm reading it as it's a question. So thanks, Camille. Will Coinmetro shareholders show some love for XCM? Hey, Bob again. Bob's just bobbing in and out of the questions, man, today. Way to go, Bob. I don't know what you really mean by this. I guess you mean, will they support the book? Market making is coming. When that happens, that is kind of setting us up for the next phase of XCM. Everybody knows about New Mars, which has been delayed, but there'll be some information on that probably in my next AMA. But the shareholders supporting the book, I guess there are definitely shareholders that will support the book. There's definitely shareholders that have bought already supporting the book. Our market makers, when they come on and as they start to analyze and build up the market and help on both sides of the book, adding liquidity, will also give us a bit of direction. And I am positive that we will have shareholders supporting the book over time. Oh, looks like my mother's having fun in the chat. Any update on Dubai and UAE? Hoping it'll shake things up. Chic, Jesus. It's been a long week, I guess. So actually back and forth with the regulator in the UAE about our setting up our corporate entity there. We had to file a bunch of different documents, and we kept asking for new documents, and some documents expired that we initially, anyway, it's been a long road. We just submitted what I hope is the last pack of documents over the last 10 days or so. That's going to allow us to then move forward with the rest of the licensing application. And so I think that we're talking about probably into 2025 when we'll hear from a licensing perspective about Dubai. But it's in progress in the back end, that's for sure. Okay. Okay, your mother, we'll give you this one. Current thoughts on Credo. They seem to be taking a PRQ approach. I mentioned this before. I think Credo, in many ways, was a bit ahead of its time. In that when Credo first approached us, it was about a year or so after I told some people at Ledger that they needed to look into non-custodial wallets, and they told me why. And I just mic dropped and walked out of the room, basically, because I couldn't fathom how someone in the position I was talking to at this company could ask that question. And I made a broad prediction that you would see multiple non-custodial wallet providers because it's something that institutions have used forever with banking, and it's one thing that could be democratized down to the retail public with crypto. I would say easily. I'm not saying from a technical aspect, but I mean, blockchain is kind of built to do these things, right? So anyway, it happens. It's happening. Fireblocks, Bitcoin, they all have non-custodial solutions now. But when Credo came out, there wasn't really many. I think there was no players. There might have been one or two that were talking about doing it, but no one had done it. And they were a bit caught behind because they not only had to build the tech, they had to build a user base. Whereas companies like Fireblocks just had to wait till somebody asked for the tech, enough people asked for the tech, and then provide it to a lot of clients. I still think Credo, as a small, as a company with ambition, can build things and find solutions that those big players won't bother to do. So yeah, they might be taking a unique approach, but I remember somebody telling me about Uber cab back in the day, and I was like, that's a dumb fucking idea. I remember hearing Airbnb for the first time. People are going to let strangers into their houses. What? But here we are, right? So it's always the crazy ideas that no one thinks are going to work that end up working. And then the whole time that people were struggling to get that business, that idea to work, just gets forgotten in the ether, so to speak, or pun intended in this case. And people just, oh yeah, open, those guys. Yeah, they're huge. So I wouldn't write them off, is what I'm trying to say. I appreciate that, KDA Minor. I don't know if I've had I'm definitely bald today. Sarcasm, I don't know if I've gotten there yet. I'm warming up, but I'm still bald. So you got that. Hey, Kevin, thank you for reminding me of my time in Mexico. I appreciate that. Mike is also good. Apparently my microphone is also doing well, but apparently this guy Mike is also just killing it. What's on the whiteboard? Actually, that whiteboard is like meaningless information. That was some brainstorming session from a long time ago, and then I came in here to redo the office a couple weeks ago, move stuff around because I didn't have anything better to do. I had a lot of stuff that I had better to do, but I was trying to get rid of some nervous energy, I guess. And I popped it over there, and then people have just left that on the board. It might be an inside joke at this point. I don't know. Yeah, you're welcome. It took me. You imagine how many hours I had to spend to learn how to do that. So time well spent, I think. He drops some alpha. Hey, Bob, I don't know. I probably could drop a ton of alpha, but I think you got to pinpoint something at least, or else I don't know where to start. Do you anticipate a prolonged bull cycle this time around, which will really help Coinmetro show the crypto community how good it is? Right now, I don't really see any reason for us not to have a quote unquote stereotypical bull market in crypto. What would that mean? Well, that would mean essentially a lull between now and September, October, a great October, a pretty decent November, all-time highs sometime in Q4. Q1, absolutely gangbusters, a lull in Q2 going into Q3, into Q3 into Q4, a final hard push Q1 2026 sees the initial capitulation and then a run into what we would consider in crypto a bear market. Now, will we see that exact pattern? Again, there's some things that are happening this cycle that haven't happened in previous cycles. ETFs, money sitting in that is definitely some retail money in there that isn't going to flow into alts. Some might still flow into alts. People may take profit in the ETF and decide, I'll take some of this profit and go gamble on some alts. I don't know, but it's definitely not going to be the percentage that we saw previously. I'll take this question in two ways. First way, even if we don't see a stereotypical bull market, with the team we currently have, the plans we have in place, and the execution power we currently have, we should be many multiples times bigger than we are now during the current market through the next bear market. Meaning, if we compare our size, obviously, to any of the big boys, we are significantly smaller in many ways. And we should be multitudes larger, meaning our worst bear market at some point in the future is going to be better than our best bull market up till now. And so we are building and kind of moving players on the chessboard, not only in the what if scenario that there's a bull market, cognizant, and like everybody hopeful, I guess, but cognizant that there may be a bull market, so timing is crucial. But at the same time, even if there isn't, we should be multiples bigger, larger than we are now. And I think, with all the issues we may have faced in the past, the issues we may be facing now and in the future, we are always becoming better. Every day, every week, every year, we are a better company, and we learn from our mistakes. We're still here. We're still fighting, and our ethos hasn't changed. And I tip my hat to everybody in the community, as well as everybody that works at Coinmetro for that, and everybody who has worked for us that has helped us get to where we are today. but I do think more and more people are going to know who we are and what we're good at. And I expect that to happen this cycle. BizDev comments. Right now, not a lot of focus on BizDev. There's a lot of focus on liquidity, tech debt, and general refocus on the business, our core businesses. Let's put it that way. But you're going to see more focus on BizDev Q4 going into Q1, Q2 next year. But Q4 is going to be light. You might not hear about it, but Q1, Q2, you should start to hear about it. Do you still expect BTC to have a correction? It seems to be quite firm above 60K, but boomers haven't sold their ETFs all that much yet. I don't expect kind of this first year of ETFs to change too much about the Bitcoin cycle, to be honest. It's not so much. I mean, the thing with, let's say, boomers is that, yeah, they're not going to hold at a 30, at a 10% loss. They're already itching. Anything more than that, they're out. Okay. And I mean 10% loss, principal loss, not like it went up 50%, we're down 10. No. But if they lose from the principal, they're out. That's for sure. But it's also the same on the upside. They're not going to hold for a 400% gain, or at least not hold, 1,000% gain, whatever. They're at least not hold 100% of the position. So it is holding quite firm, but I don't see that as odd. One is because of the inflow of ETF money, but also there is right now all Bitcoin is being settled basically in those ETFs, the majority through Coinbase, and it's off chain. And so the real question is, where is that supply coming from that they're buying into? Is Coinbase offloading? Are there other funds that may have taken Bitcoin, or are they cashing out Bitcoin that was held by FTX, by, I don't know, Celsius? Like, there is definitely a trove of Bitcoin that is being sold. And the question is from where, and it's not really traceable because it's happening off ledger. And so that's a bit of a mystery, and I'm sure it's going to unravel itself at some point. And I think it's staying relatively firm because, well, now that you have a lot of salesmen out selling Bitcoin to regular people, there's just a lot more inflow of funds, and it's easier for many of those people to inflow funds. And when I say easier, it's not necessarily that the mechanics of doing it are easier. In some cases, they very well may be, but not in all. It's just, somebody calls and sells, and they're like, yeah, okay. That's it, nice and easy. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how Bitcoin kind of reacts throughout this cycle we're in currently. What are you most looking forward to in the next few weeks for Coinmetro? Well, we got new team members that are crucial in the team, and every day I see a little bit more of how they work, how they function, how they handle issues and problems, and good news and bad news. And that's really interesting for me. And every day seems to get better, which is also good news. And it's something that makes me smile. Over the next few weeks, I guess, XCM market making is going to be nice to see. Getting aggregation of liquidity is going to be something nice to see over the next weeks. And I think progression on rewrite a tech debt, just seeing that progression and seeing how it affects the overall ecosystem, even in Sandbox, et cetera, is also something that I'm looking forward to. Are you still a U.S. citizen? Will you be voting for Trump or Michelle Obama? Didn't know Michelle was on the ticket. I am a U.S. citizen. Yep. So in all honesty, I've never voted in a presidential election. And we could talk for a long time about why. But yeah, this isn't a realization I made, in my 40s. This was a realization I made a long time ago, in that representative government is not really representative. And, they try to, I don't want to go any further because I don't want to burst somebody's bubble or I don't know, but it's one of those things in life that has a really great narrative, but is never executed well. Let's see. Will we see €1 XCM? I believe you will, Bob. Absolutely. How things going with the U.S. bank integration? Well, it's not about integration, really. It's about figuring out what will work and if it will work. And U.S. dollar banking, for a crypto exchange throughout crypto's history has always been a pain in the ass. And not just for crypto, to be honest, anything that's considered high risk by the banking system regulators in general, which doesn't necessarily mean it's high risk. Let's put it out there. Let's be honest. But if it's perceived as high risk, it's going to be a pain. And, when it comes to US banking, it has a lot of problems. And I mean the banking system has a lot of problems. And the best thing to do when your ecosystem has a lot of problems is just find somebody to blame so that people don't, look at you, they look at somebody else. And normally the scapegoat is usually the smallest issue, right? Literally. Think of, I don't know, Enron or Deutsche Bank, not Deutsche Bank, but Danske Bank, et cetera. Like the janitor got arrested or something because he bought 2 mop heads instead of 1 and pocketed the 13-cent change or something. And, that was good to get arrested. But the guys behind the entire thing laundering €500 billion, whatever. Let's focus on the janitor. Now, obviously, that's a bit of jest, not so much, but US bank is kind of the same thing. So crypto became the bad guy because why not? Let's not look at every other institutional problem that exists in banking in general and US banking, but let's pick on crypto. So that has had an ebb and flow throughout the last X amount of years. And while many people thought ETFs would bring an ease to banking, no, because the whole ETF idea is that Wall Street kicked off ETFs, not because they think Bitcoin is innovative, not because they generally like Bitcoin, like the technology. The narrative will say something different, but it's because at that time, because I think NVIDIA has taken the crown, but was the highest ROI asset in the history of mankind, basically, of modern trading. So they wanted a piece. They waited enough to kind of cut out most of the risk, and then they jumped in. And they want to make sure they can control the market as much as they can. So what do? Well, you stop the competition. How do you stop the competition? Well, you make sure that your lobbyists help make regulations and et cetera that stop, smaller business from being able to compete. And that's where we're sitting right now. So US dollar is a pain in the ass, as it's always been. And there's a lot of restrictions that want to be applied to how we can integrate, which make it more expensive for the client, give more counterparty risk to the client, and effectively to us as Coinmetro, and really just make a worse product overall with the guise that it's safer, and it's not. And so, long story short, it's a long answer. So, apologies, or not. Maybe it's just a really good answer. I don't know. I think it was a good answer, but it's long. So long story short, we are still trying to figure out with these partners how to integrate that will be cost effective, optimal, and not add additional counterparty risk for no other reason than trust me, bro, which is, not how crypto is built. It's kind of the banking system in general. Trust me, bro. Regulation. Trust me, bro. That's basically the basis. Is the IGN integration still on track? I didn't receive my CM equity. Well, you did receive your CM equity, so it's contractual. So you have it. You might not be able to see it. No, it's like having an invisible Lambo. You paid for it and it's yours. It's just invisible. That was a bit of sarcasm. So sorry, Bobby. Somebody said I should be sarcastic though, so I tried to appease. You can't make everybody happy. The integration is scheduled to be completed before the end of the year. And it's hard to say if it's on track, though it hasn't been pushed. And it's important to us because leading up to our DGO, our decentralized governance organization, there is going to be a much broader need for an IGNIUM integration. What are your top 3 favorite gems currently on Coinmetro? That's a hard one because I still, I know holding old gems in a new bull market, at least historically, is hit or miss, but I still like some of the oldies but goodies. On recent listings, to be honest, I think most of our recent listings are interesting and deserve a bit of attention. I got some limit orders in the book around here, waiting for some fills. So But yeah, I like it. I think I like everything we've recently listed for different reasons. I think they all have some potential. I think the last actual purchase I made might have been a lithium, but that and little AI, but that's because my limit orders were filled there and haven't been filled on these on any other asset yet. So you ask me that next month, and maybe I can update that for you. You are an advisor to Parsec team. Do you still believe in the project? I feel that the team hasn't really put enough effort into getting the word out, and lack of transparency is scary. So actively advising, no. But if they, ask me something, I would advise. So in that sense, I guess I still am, but actively, currently, no. I think like every business, Parsec in the beginning was wanted to get exposure, focused a lot on their token and tokenomics. Token did amazingly well last bull run. Then they focused back on the business and they grew their business. Then they decided that it was time to go that next step and kind of transform into their own chain, go native, and build out an ecosystem. And they decided to do that under another token. Now we're waiting to see exactly how that's going to pan out. I think I don't know if it's necessarily a lack of transparency. Firsthand, I want to be 100% transparent. There are times when I can't. It could be legal reason. It could be kind of a regulatory compliance reason. It could be a business reason. And, that doesn't mean like, oh, bad news, business business reason, don't say it. No. It could be good news, don't say it either, because, maybe we don't want people to know before everybody knows. And so as your business grows and gets more complex, sometimes that hurts transparency. I've been burned by transparency a few times, where I call it minute by minute transparent, where I'm going to tell you, I just got out of a meeting and this is what we're planning to do. And this is the date. And then it changes. And you guys missed the deadline. Well, most companies don't share minute by minute deadlines. They tell you when they already know the product is ready, it's all in package and ready to go. And then they still do 60 days out. And you could say that's just being conservative and that's good business. But if I was a shareholder of that company, and while token holders aren't necessarily shareholders, I think they still deserve some amount of information like they were stakeholders in a company, because without the token holders initially, we wouldn't have been able to launch the company. And so, but anyway, I've learned my lesson for better or for worse. Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel that lack of transparency. I feel more of maybe strategically playing it close so that they can have the best launch possible, is the way I look at it there. Hey, Kevin, just wanted to say that I admire and find inspiring how you keep on moving forward despite all the negativity of theirs. Thanks, Deep Philippe. I appreciate that, man. And I appreciate you. As I saw your name, I just remembered you DJing 2 summers ago. I think it was at our summer party. That was fun, man. We should do that again sometime. Are you more bullish on that one or that one? Taking all things into consideration for this specific cycle, I may go with the former rather than the latter. But I'd be the first to say that the latter still has potential. And that anyway, I guess I'd end it there. I don't want to go too far into it. Someday I'm going to get myself into trouble for sure. But what exactly is the tech debt being cleared? Can you give me specifics? Exact specifics on this AMA, maybe not, but I can give you some idea. And so we've had key person risk in Coinmetro more than once. Key person risk being, someone holds all the keys. And this is a really bad analogy for crypto, because that's not what it means, like private keys. But someone has all the access and all the knowledge, and then they leave. And the people that are left have only portions of it, have to go relearn it, make mistakes, break things, etc. And then some of those people leave. And then you have that cycle a few times. Definitely a management mistake and a leadership issue. I'll take this one on the chin. You know, when you try to grow fast, when you're trying to do things, when you're trying to compete, you got all these other problems. Sometimes, you know, and lack of experience as well with certain things, because until you do something, no matter how much you read about it or how much you know someone else might have done it, it's a different ball game, right? So anyway, you make mistakes, and what happens is you may have had a very robust system, like a robust foundation, but it's software, in some cases hardware, and that's hardware and software needs to be upgraded. It needs to be changed. It needs to be, you know, upgraded, changed. You need to bring in new pieces. Some new pieces don't work with old pieces, you know. And imagine you have a really solid foundation, but you start building on top, and then some point the foundation gets a little weaker, and then at some point this becomes a little weaker, and then this new little piece won't connect here, and you know, you start building something that at the beginning was solid and becomes, well, not solid. And you start to get to a point where you can estimate that with X amount of users, X amount of this, X amount of that, this system is not going to work. And before we get to that scenario, we need to fix it. And while it's been known it existed, there's never been a real push internally to fix it. It's been talked about, it's been known. We now have a team that, as soon as they stepped in, said, we got to get rid of this. And I know it's going to delay some stuff, and I know you might have other things you wanted to do in the next couple months, but this needs to be priority, and I respect that. And they're right. And I think everybody in the team knows they're right. So just think of it as, imagine you had a Windows ME laptop. That's not Windows ME. That's horrible. Let's say you had a Windows 98 laptop. Now actually there's still a lot of servers that run on Windows 98, but you know, so your Windows 98 laptop, solid machine, loud, heavy, not sexy at all, but solid, right? Came to work every day, did his job. And now you're trying to play the most, you know, and then on top of that, you added, I don't know, a DVD burner to that sucker, and then some other hardware, and then you also added a bunch of software to it. You had to kind of make it work some way or another. You might have had to put some type of, you might have had to splice a drive and stick some Linux on there, and they're both running in parallel to run. Now you're trying to run, you know, the most recent game that you want to play, and you know it's crashing your system. Tech debt. That's I guess a good analogy. In July, it's probably not going to happen in July. I'd like to see it happen sooner than later. Hopefully we can get pieces of it maybe out. I don't know yet, to be honest, because we do have a focus on this tech debt. And I know it's painful, but once it's out of the way, it's going to be a breath of fresh air. So it may not be until end of Q3, early Q4, but we're going to get more insights over the next weeks, months, as we get closer to being able to push it out. Never played Elden Ring. Not a video game guy, actually, so have no idea, man. Sorry. Video games and anime, yeah, no, I don't know, man. Nothing. Not that that has anything to do with anime, or maybe it does. I don't know, but I'm just saying, those two things. I could sit on a panel discussion and talk about pretty much anything and get in there, you know, make some comments, some snarky ones, a little bit of sarcasm, get people laughing, and work it out, you know, no problem. Anime, and the only thing I could do is make fun of anime and video games, I think. And maybe reminisce about some really old video games I played when I was a kid, but that's about it. Are you able to share any details on what happened to Ollie? No, I can't. That's, you know, I think that's standard, man. It's just, but you know, he can. So, you know, he can chat, and I'm sure you've probably been in touch with him. Maybe you already know. I don't know. I need to make it before traditional finance gobbles up the crypto market and makes it boring. Well, might be too late for that. Do you think the new CM governance token in Mars will be the thing that enables me to quit my job? This is going to be really hard to answer without like overstepping a line that I shouldn't overstep. What I will say is that if this question is asking me what's going to be the thing or the things that make Coinmetro known by more people, used by more people, and our revenue grow, and more people coming to see that we're a great business and wanting to do business with buying XCM. Okay, if that's the question, I think there's a combination of things. Some of these things we've always been doing and attempting to do better. So transparency, security, UI, UX, user experience in general, from when you come in the first time to, hopefully when you never leave, but every time you come and transact with us, to having unique ways of giving, a unique experience, not so much in the UX side or the UI side, but unique in a way that you actually want to transact with us, that it's easy, that we give you access to things that may be only available through more complex platforms. And that's been our goal the whole time. And we've definitely kind of hit the goal a few times within the history. But now we have a team, I think, that can really, really push the ball forward, so to speak. And so I think those two things are very, very important in the long run for the business. XCM, also very important. Our renewed UI that's coming in September, that will be built on from there with 2-week iterations. What it should have always been, every 2 weeks, something new popping up, everybody excited, always something to talk about. I come into an AMA and I got so much stuff to talk about, I can't even answer a question. And I think that's where we're headed again. We were there at some point, but that's where we're headed again. What's up, man? Nice to see you. Yeah, wall removal went pretty smooth. I agree with you, Jack. More or less, yes. The reason why initially when we decide, well, if there was talk about, will you remove the wall? And it was like, well, if we can't get liquidity, then that's going to be an inevitable conclusion probably at the end of the year. And the idea was, well, if we think we're going to get the liquidity, why not get the liquidity into a book with lower pricing so people can come and even incentivize them to buy more? So, okay, but there was always the caveat that, well, the summer's coming. There's going to be a lull in trading. That might mean, lower lows. That might mean less volume. But if we still believe that's going to happen in the context of still having the floor and then getting to the end of the year and still removing it, does it really make a difference? And so I think we have played out more or less, kind of based on assumptions, in that we saw a quick crash. People came in and bought. Price went more or less to, let's say, the end of the ICO level. And now we've seen more sellers come in, more XCM trading hands, which is great. And we're starting to see a little bit of, I think, accumulation around lower prices. And yeah, that seems about right, considering where we are in the market. And so, yeah, I think it played out more or less as expected. I was kind of pleasantly surprised at the immediate reaction to the floor removal. And that was good to see. And it's also nice to see, even if you have sometimes diminishing volumes and some days that, aren't as numbers aren't as high as others, we are seeing a market form. And with market making coming in, et cetera, I expect to see something we've never seen in XCM, which is a sustainable and stable market. And we have time to build into that as we get into Q4, which is good. How are you going to deal with the trams concerning the last update disabled the trading functionality? Hey, Harold. So I believe you're talking about APIs. And so I'll throw this out to the public. We did some checks on API traders. I think 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 top API guys connected to the API over the last 18 months have made us under 5K euro in revenue. But because of the way our APIs are set up and the fact that a lot of these guys are on unlimited calls, the amount of requests for price updates, et cetera, are using a majority of our infrastructure, and we're not making money. And so you are going to get some news on this in the near future about what we're going to do to rectify this. Tram has never really been a profit generating vehicle for us. That has a lot to do with the product itself. It also has to do with other things, but definitely related to the product. In fact, if we tally in some of the indirect losses that the company saw because of Tram, it's definitely a loss, and a big one for us over time. Social trading is still something that's very important to us, so you will see renewed social trading coming end of this year into next year That'd be a completely different ball game and an absolutely different user experience altogether for both sides. And so there is obviously an issue if you're trading over API with trams and you need to be able to interact with open positions. And that is being worked on. Understand that, yeah, it is what it is when it comes to resources and focus. And everybody, when they have an issue, myself included, and where I go, I feel that my issue is the most important. And sometimes it's difficult to prioritize issues because some people in the business may feel that something is more important, but numbers don't lie, I guess is how I end the answer. What's the next project release update we can expect for the platform? In September, you're going to see the start of very frequent updates. And that's going to be initially tied to the mobile apps, and that will roll over into APIs, and that will roll over into desktop, and that will roll over into new products come 2025. New CPO has a Phantom of the Opera clause in their contract. I didn't know that was an actual clause. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I didn't draft the contract. I signed it though. I just said I signed it without reading it, I guess, but I mean, I read the number. That's important, right? So that was a bit of sarcasm, hopefully. Any updates about Credo? So I think I talked about Credo. We as far as branding and everything, look, if you withdraw what says Credo on our site, it will be open. There's no change to the contract. There's no change to anything. It's just a rebranding exercise by Credo to open. And because of that, it's a bit low priority for us right now, dealing with all this tech debt, et cetera. But it will be done. I have seen it on the radar. There are open tickets, but it doesn't affect anything. It doesn't affect trading. It doesn't affect withdrawals. It doesn't affect deposits. Any update on the number of active clients, meaning the number increase, and what is your plan to grow further with it? I don't have an update for you today. I think Camille's, we'll probably have some details in July, so we can update you guys on all the numbers. The market in general, though, has slowed. And that's normal after May. You're going to see, May, June, July, August is going to be slower. That's for sure. The plan to further grow it, well, is renewed focus on onboarding, getting onboarding, initial deposit, DCA, all wrapped up in a really nice wrapper, and making sure that it's easy to use without losing some of the things that make Coinmetro. And so from a product standpoint, that's kind of what the focus is currently. And then, marketing, advertising. Summer is not really the best time to do campaigns. We may push some summer campaigns as a test, but real campaigns will start in October, and you will see advertising being done on the Coinmetro site for the first time in a long time. Give me a second, guys. Thank you, Bobby, for the thumbs up message. So I see for anybody interested, this is about a half an hour ago, but we were slowly getting everything back up. There is a loss of some closed order information for a period of time, less than an hour, and so that may take a bit of time to rectify. Yeah, anyway, just want to give you that. Might be a late update. You guys might already realized it before I did, but I was here busy answering questions. So. Did you get kicked out of the office? Did the new CP? No, this is the office now. So we changed offices some time ago to cut down on costs, basically saving $7K a month, and still having space for everyone that's in Estonia. And so, yeah, so it's an open office now. I just get to hang out with everybody. Of course, when I come here at 9 p.m., no one's here. So, hey, how are you? Open AI, and I'm bald too. That must have been, that's probably, if I had that in context, I would understand what you're talking about here, but I'm glad that you're also bald. Or I'm glad. We need more balds. You guys see that thing in Mozambique? If you're bald, man, don't go to Mozambique. Bald man. If you're a bald woman, you're good, I guess. But a bald man, apparently they found out that we have gold in our heads. I've been trying to keep that a secret for a long time, and they found out. So they got 2 or 3 of us. And a good thing, because I had just canceled my own trip to Mozambique for the annual Bald Man Convention, the BMC. It's a sad day for bald men everywhere. And the BMC will have to be held somewhere else. And I was really looking forward to going to Mozambique. Anyway, terrible. New ETA for the new staking program. There will be a renewed focus on listings and staking starting in September. And there will be one person specifically that'll just be knocking out listings and staking. So that's probably when you're going to see the first new staking added as well, as around that time. And the product as well, for sure. Slow uptick bull run in the beginning and then moon status for a short while. Awesome. I think you were answering somebody's question, but I think I might have said similar to the same thing. New ETA for new staking Mars. Yeah, I'm thinking right now it's looking like September, October, November. I want to do it sooner, but right now that's what it's looking like. So we'll have to see what resources do, but that's probably worst case scenario, but that's what it's looking like currently. Grizzly. Okay. Was that say Grizzly? It did say Grizzly. Okay. And related, I burn dust from time to time. Does this really end up in the burn wallet? It does. Yeah. Paul, who do you think would be better for crypto, Trump or Biden? In your opinion, would either affect upcoming alt season? So truth be told, politicians suck for crypto. Let's just throw it out there. Regardless if the president loves it, hates it, thinks it's amazing, thinks it sucks, it's kind of meaningless. In terms of policies, traditional Republican policies would be far better for any tradable, regulated market than Democratic policies. Somehow the Democrats have become like, the good guys for business and, immigration and equal rights, when historically that just was never really the case. And so, yeah, Republicans, but the thing is there really is no traditional Republicans or traditional Democrats anymore in the US. It's like you're either so far right or so far left that, you don't even know where you are. And it's almost like politics is a circle. So once you go too far right and left, you just become the same party. You still, don't get anything done, and everybody blame everybody else and talk about everybody else is crazy while you're just as crazy as everybody else. But you end up basically doing the same thing or not doing anything, which is basically what happens. So I think from a market reaction, a Trump win would be better for the market, at least in the short term. Yeah. And, he's probably easier to win over because, whether he may say he likes crypto and may do nothing, but him just saying it multiple times is better for the market than him not saying it or saying something negative. And so, we just need to get him to a crypto conference and get some, Eastern European women in Bitcoin t-shirts. And I think we're good to go, man. I think that would push it over the line. Maybe, that's it. A little bit of, good old 1990s sexism, and we'll win over Trump. No problem. Oh, I might get canceled one day for that. I could have gone a lot further with that kind of joke, but I'm not. I wanted to. Just know I wanted to, but I can't. New date for Mars. I think I answered that one already. Have you seen this Kraken 3 million hack? Yes, I saw it. Apparently, the guys who certify everybody else around the market seem to always be the ones that get hacked. And now there's this idea that they might be infiltrated by the North Korean, cyber attackers or whatever, which I wouldn't, that could definitely be true. I don't know if I read the whole story. What I read on this one was, some dude went through a bug bounty, found out he could add a balance to his account. Instead of, he added $4 to his account to show that there was an issue, but then told his buddy about it. His buddy added millions and they withdrew 3 million. And then he's saying they're not going to return the money unless they're told exactly how much they're going to get paid for the bounty, and it better be a lot of money. So that's extortion, if that's really what happened. And that's not really how bug bounty is supposed to work. But, bad for Kraken, it could have been a lot worse. Could have been 100 million, could have been, whatever, right? So, I don't know. I don't know if I have all the details. What I would say is shit happens. Back in 2018, we had something very similar happen about 30 minutes, but it was somebody gaining access to an employee's laptop and being able to add deposits that were not real, caught in about 35 minutes, and then shut down. And we added a bunch of different safety measures internally after that and have never seen something like that happen again. I think this one, though, is a bit different. I read that it was tied to some type of bonus system. I forget what I read, but it didn't have anything to do with like an internal admin back office, at least as far as I read. Anyway, Lazarus being behind it makes a lot of sense. They're behind most crypto hacks, I think, especially of this type of nature. And it seems like, I mean, I don't know if you can make a correlation between this one company that does almost everybody's kind of testing, et cetera, to give certification. I was going to say prop testing. Jesus, it's penetration testing, pen testing. Does most of the pen testing. I mean, they do most of the testing, and most of those guys are the ones that get hacked. Well, I mean, that doesn't mean anything really. But yeah. So yeah, not much to say other than I'm glad they caught it, and I'm glad they're going to fix it, and I'm glad they are able to cover the loss. That's why centralized crypto exchanges that do the right thing are a great thing for the market, because if that was a DeFi platform, no one's getting their money back. That's for sure. The US is going after on-ramp crypto companies in an attempt to control the sector. Yep, I think I mentioned that basically as well. Nothing new about that. So are there any level 8 traders when scoreboard? I believe, yeah, as far as I know, there are. And I think there's more on level 7, level 8 for sure. But yeah, I believe there are, or is. Just joined. What's up, Kevin? Glad to see you, buddy. Keep up the good work. I appreciate that, man. Same to you. I don't know what you do, but whatever you do, man, do it well. When next passive income opportunity? Yep, like I said, probably going to end up around October, November. Is the general idea. What do you? Why do you have someone looking after Coinmetro's Instagram account, but no one is taking care of Twitter? Hey man, hey, so I'm glad you came in here, and I hope you're still here, because I know it took me a while to get to your question. I know you tweeted at me or X'd at me or whatever you call it now. I'm a voice message guy, man. So on Telegram, I would have gave you a much longer explanation, but I hate typing stuff out. So I apologize for that. But yeah, I think, we do have somebody looking after Twitter, but sometimes answering a post just eats up your time rather than kind of directing. I tried to get you into Telegram because at least there I can answer. Tag me on Telegram, man, at Kevin Murcko. Send me the same thing you sent in the tweet. Let me send you a voice message and I'll give you a lot more information. Latest on USD, you were discussing US Bank before, but didn't hear an actual time frame. Yeah, because I didn't give one, Jack, because right now it's kind of, we can't give one because we're still trying to figure out a flow of funds that makes sense with these providers that doesn't add cost and counterparty risk under the assumption that it actually is safer for the end user when it's not. Next shareholder meeting. My estimation is next shareholder meeting is going to be towards the end of the summer. Don't have June's numbers in the bag, so to speak. But it might be slightly lower than that. But it's I would say 5 months, more or less, currently. Latest on USD. Okay, I think I answered that one. Ding, ding, ding. North Korean cyber hackers infiltrate crypto certification company. We're living. Yeah. Well, nobody's that creative in Hollywood, man. Trust me, every movie that's ever been written is because it's got some element of truth to it. Also, LP update, investment update. LP updates, so new liquidity providers and market makers on tap, aggregation on tap, probably about a month and a half before you really feel it and see it. But you will see some, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, at least on some pairs, a change. In terms of charting and things like that, it's going to be about a month and a half before you see it, but it's being worked on currently. What are some of the changes in the last 2 years you're most proud of? What is most important to CM right now, and what lessons did you learn? Well, I think if you compare everything about the business from 2 years ago, almost everything we're now doing better. Whether that's UI, UX, whether that's processes internally for treasury management, whether that's processes internally for how we manage even customer support, whether it's the amount of information that's available on the website and stuff you can look up and the ease, I think, of being able to accomplish certain things within our product. There's definitely things that we need to improve on for sure. I think, you know, the evolution of our team, the evolution of really, like I said, every aspect of the business, I am proud of. There are things I wish we would have been able to do. There's not many things, to be honest, that we could have done that we didn't do in the past. There's many things I would have liked to do that we didn't do or couldn't do. And I see that changing. And so that makes me happy. Lessons, I learned a lot of lessons, man. And normally I'm pretty straightforward with lessons. I come in here and say, dude, you know, really kind of fucked the pooch on that one. You know, oh, sorry about that one. Ooh, this could have been done better. You know, like, so I learned a lot of lessons. I think people on the team learned a lot of lessons as well. Some of those lessons were hard. Some of the lessons you don't want to learn, you know. There's, you know, personal things that happen. There's things that you simply know you're not good at and you just don't want to admit it. You know, those lessons are always kind of the hardest. I learned a lot of lessons. But like I said, I think I've kind of shared most of those over time. And I'm trying to dig one out right now out of the forehead here. In the last 2 years, that might have been one of the most important. And, you know, maybe it's one of those simple ones about, and this is going to sound really messed up, you know, talking to a community member, but that's, you know, at some point we're like, all right, you know, we want to make everybody happy. We want to listen to people. And we ended up doing things that made 20 people happy and lost the company a lot of money. And, you know, we want to have a community driven business. And so, yeah, like that seemed like the right thing to do. Lesson learned, it's not always the right thing to do. Actually, in most cases, it's not the right thing to do, even though it may feel right. It's not right. And so that's hard because a lot of times you have really well-meaning, amazing people that only want the best for the company, that are urging you to do something, and then you do it, and it was a complete waste of time. And even worse, you end up losing money on it. You know, trying to figure out really what I'm best at, I guess. And that's not 2 years, man. That's a long time, right? I think I've been looking for that my whole life. But you kind of lie to yourself sometimes and say, oh, I can do this, you know, and you take too much on, you don't accomplish what you wanted to accomplish, and then you blame yourself because you didn't do it or you didn't, you know, reach the goal you wanted to reach, when in reality, what you shouldn't have done was committing to do it in the first place. And you should know what you're good at and focus there, right? I kind of equate that to like Michael Jordan deciding, I'm going to go play baseball. Bro, you know, no. Why? To prove you can do it. To, you know, yeah, it's like, you know, nah, man, you are, you know, you might be probably, you're the best that ever played the game, according to most. Don't go play another game. I don't see Mike Tyson golfing. Though you might at some point here, you know, I wouldn't be surprised to see Mike Tyson golf tournament. I might even pay to see that one, as long as they didn't turn the camera off when he gets pissed and punches the jockey in the neck. The jockey, what do you call what is it? What do you call the guy with the balls? Boy, that came out wrong. The caddy, yeah, when he punches the caddy in the neck. As long as that's on, then I'm watching it. I'm paying to see it. I'm pay-per-viewing that bad boy. I don't even know if there's pay-per-view anymore, but if there is, I'm paying for it. Do you live door to door to the new office? No, I live 2 floors up. Yeah, literally right above. So no, I mean, I could probably put a fireman's pole, maybe. Nah, because there's a beauty salon, I think, in the middle. I could ask the guy though, you know, maybe let me fire pole. That'd be kind of cool, I guess, until people started climbing up the fire pole in my house. That would get weird. Probably pretty fast. Will the new ASI token be airdropped so that we have Ocean Protocol on Coinmetro? Yeah, this one's being discussed internally about all this. Yeah, we decided to merge these 55 tokens because, you know, it's Tuesday and we're bored. I don't have an answer for that one yet. You can kind of run up in Telegram. We'll try to get an answer. We're kind of trying to figure out the information ourselves. It's not all available. I think the date got pushed. We're trying to get all the information. We're trying to figure out how we do a bridge, how we get it done, etc. So I don't know. In general terms, if it's just a new token, what would happen is we just credit your balance with whatever you should have, and we sort it out on our end. Someday in the future, when CM is top 10 crypto exchange with thousands of employees, we need a throwback skin UI with the train and ICO graphics. Awesome. Still have those saved, so it won't be an issue. Hello, when is the app going to speed up? It's very slow. Well, I don't know when this was posted, but yeah, we did have a database issue, which is still being worked on, coming up slowly. You should see it speed up over the next few hours. And in general, in September, you're going to see a complete turnaround. That has nothing to do with the current downtime or the previous downtime, sorry. When you set the floor, you felt it reflect the value of Coinmetro at the time. Do you still feel that way in spite of where XCM price is now? I feel XCM represents the broader, like the public's, the non-educated public. I mean, non-educated like people didn't go to school. I mean, not understanding what Coinmetro is, what we have, what we've done, etc. You know, I say that because that's how markets work. Markets price things based on what the market thinks something's worth. And I'm not going to argue with that. I don't think it reflects Coinmetro's true value, no. But I think it will catch up to Coinmetro's true value as Coinmetro starts to show more of its true value to a wider audience. In the name of transparency and investor confidence, do you have a way of knowing if you or others from Coinmetro team are selling XCM? If not, are there ways to address that? Currently, if XCM is held off of Coinmetro and sold, then you obviously can track wallets. Not that you have names on those wallets, but you know, you can do some forensic work, I guess, and try to figure that out. On Coinmetro, no, there isn't a way. And I guess from a broader perspective, knowing what individuals do with their personal funds on a centralized exchange, like broadly speaking, I would not be in favor of. I don't think any client would. Now, attaching that to, you know, the CEO, okay. Attaching it to a shareholder that has no role in the business, for example, of which we have several with very large amounts of XCM, I'm not sure I would agree to that either. And I'm not sure they would. And I'm not sure I would force them to, because, yeah, at the end of the day, I get the value you're trying to get out of that information. Like, oh, are they confident in the project? Okay. I would also say that somebody can be very, I mean, people sell Bitcoin all the time that are very confident in Bitcoin because they may have Bitcoin that they're trading and they have Bitcoin that they're holding. And any investment strategy is going to tell you don't hold, 100% of your assets in one basket. So if there's a shareholder, for example, that has, 80% of their wealth in XCM, and I'm not saying there is, but this is just an example. Why shouldn't they be able to sell some? Why should that be frowned upon? So yeah, I guess there are ways we could do it. I guess we could definitely tag different wallets and make that information public. But I don't. That seems like a scary precedent to me. But I'm willing to talk about it, and I'm willing to see if there is something of value there. And with the DGO that's coming up at the end of the year, that potentially down the road could be something that people could vote on. And I think that shows the true representative power of the DGO, of the decentralized governance organization. Any reason why the XCM token lost 91% of its value, 10 a.m.? It didn't lose 21% of its value. We removed a pricing floor. So there was no way for people to buy or sell XCM below 60 cents. And we removed it on May 21st. And the current price reflects what the market is pricing XCM at. So it wasn't that it lost. It wasn't someone sold a ton of XCM and it tanked. It's because there was simply no way to sell below that, and we removed that restriction. Why would you tell XCM and the new governance token respectively using the following statement? What would you call XCM and the new governance token respectively using the following statement? So I would say they're both different, right? So I would say that kind of XCM is probably the fuel or the backbone of Coinmetro. And the governance token is kind of is the, trying to think of a good word here, because it provides decision power. It provides power over what the company is doing. So it's not so much what underpins or powers the company, but it's the direction. It's kind of and I'm trying to think of a good word. It's basically the the direction of Coinmetro. I don't know. That's a terrible word. It's just too late in the day, man. It's what, 10:30 right now. So I don't know, my brain's, but they're very different things. So they can't be, I wouldn't put them into the same sense. XCM and the Digo token will not be the same thing, and for very good reason. Favorite movie? I got a lot of favorite movies. Depends on the genre, etc. So you gotta narrow it down a bit. And definitely there's a meme out there about some of my favorite movies. If you look around hard enough. Can we have a naming contest for the governance token? We already chose a name, but it could be something that the governance that gets voted on after the fact. I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I'm trying to get to the rest of these questions here. In a more direct question, when was the last time you sold XCM? I think it's a fair question since Eleanor Gates sells shares is public knowledge. I agree that if I sold shares, it should be public knowledge. I'm not sure selling XCM should be public knowledge, but I completed now, before I say this, I want to, not that it's terrible, but I get paid a salary from Coinmetro of 967 euros a month, something like that. And the way that I am able to kind of, pay my bills is that I usually do 1, 2, 3, maybe max OTC deals a year with buyers that are already either shareholders or XCM holders who essentially are not putting their assets in the book. And I completed one of those 2 months ago, something like that, 3 months ago. But yeah, that's the extent of it. I have no, for me, I don't necessarily have a problem making this public. I could be taking a relatively large salary from Coinmetro and not be doing an OTC deal now and again. And I think that's actually more counterproductive because the company needs that money in order to crush its goals. And by crushing its goals, XCM will be much more valuable in the future. And with, market making and trying to stabilize, and previously, obviously, with a sell wall. And to be honest, last year, I don't even think I made one OTC deal. And if I did, it might've been one. This year I've done one. 2021, I think I might've done 2 or 3, but there was, it was tradable at that time as well, but I didn't want to put it in the book. And every one of those XCMI OTC is still sitting in someone's wallet. So that's for me. Are there any potential investors in the fundraising pipeline? Or are you back at square one? There are, but yeah, it's still ongoing conversations. So not square one, but there's always someone active. Let's put it that way. Backbone and Brain. There you go. Thank you. That's actually not bad. Though Brain, maybe Pulse. Yeah, maybe Pulse might be a good one. I got to think about this now, but it's a good question. Brain, because you're not necessarily coming up with the plan, you're voting on it. So the Brain is the, collective kind of executive suite at each individual Coinmetro operational unit, but you are the one kind of deciding which options we're choosing. And at some point, who's actually potentially in that C-suite. And so it's very democratic in that way, actually. But I think we're getting somewhere. We're getting close. All right, guys. We're an hour and 13 minutes in. I'm going to check one last time on this, see if I have an update here. All right, so still same update from a while back, almost an hour ago now. Prefrontal cortex. Thanks, Bobby. We recovered this database issue. There's still potentially a bit of data on closed orders that needs to be recovered, and that may take a bit of time. Heart. Yeah. Anyway, time to go. Yeah. So anyway, guys, have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Thanks for the support as always. I've never been more optimistic about the overall team at Coinmetro than I am today. And that's from the bottom of my heart, not from my token or whatever, but from the bottom of my heart. I know that we are, I was going to say light years ahead, but we are far beyond in many ways in terms of understanding of a broader perspective of business, of product development, et cetera, than we've ever been. And I'm excited. So thank you guys for joining me here. I'll see you on the next one. We'll share some numbers. Appreciate you guys waiting for me those 10 or 15 minutes. And see you in Telegram. You can always tag me there at Kevin Murcko. You can also tweet me, X me, whatever you call it now, on X at Kevin Murcko. I'm pretty much at Kevin Murcko everywhere. Make sure it's not Kevin Murcko 23785. If I'm asking you for money or telling you to put money in some fund, that's not me. I would never do that. Yeah, thanks again, guys and gals. Cheers.